Okay, about 2 years ago, my family lost our 2 dogs. And we've been preparing ourselves for that because they were pretty old, so we knew that we wanted to get a new dog pretty soon after they died. And so about 1.5 years ago, we went to our local animal shelter. What I saw when I got there was very sad. Cage after cage after cage with dogs in them staring up at you with sad eyes, wanting to get out and run around and play with you and be pet by you. This is where my family found our wonderful puppy, Shasta. We saw her in her cage all alone, and when we looked into her eyes, we knew that we had to take her home. At the shelter, she was shy and timid, but when we took her home and gave her love and respect, she grew into this wonderful, energetic, and fun-loving puppy. My family loves her, and she brings us great joy. When considering getting a new dog, I would like you to, instead of purchasing one through a breeder or a pet store, adopt one from an animal shelter. One of the biggest reasons people need to adopt a dog from a shelter is that there is an insane amount of dogs in shelters that need homes. According to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, each year 5 to 7 million pets enter animal shelters nationwide. 3 to 4 million dogs and cats are euthanized each year, which is 5 out of 10 dogs and 7 out of 10 cats, simply because there is no one available to adopt them. So by adopting from a shelter, you will save 2 lives. The first life is the one that you adopt, and the second is the homeless animal that will take the dog's place at the animal shelter. Contrary to popular belief, only half of the pets in animal shelters are picked up by animal control. The other half are actually pets relinquished by owners. Of those dogs and cats that are picked up by animal control, less than 2% of cats and only 15 to 20% of dogs are actually returned to their owners. A second reason to adopt an animal from a shelter is that you will not be supporting cruel puppy mills in pet stores. The Humane Society defines puppy mills as factory-style dog breeding facilities that prioritize profit above the welfare of dogs. Most dogs raised in puppy mills are kept in extremely poor conditions and with improper medical care, and the parents of the puppies are kept in cages to be bred over and over for years without human companionship or ever hope of joining a home. And after they're no longer profitable, breeding dogs are discarded, either killed, abandoned, or sold at auctions. Puppy mill puppies are sold to consumers in pet stores, over the internet, and through newspaper ads to whoever is willing to pay for them. These puppies are marketed as coming from respectable breeders, and the puppy mills do this by ensuring that consumers never find out where they come from. Many of the puppies have severe behavioral and health problems that may not be apparent for months and can cost thousands of dollars to treat, if they're even treatable at all. Many of the puppies in pet stores come from a puppy mill, so customers that buy their dog through a pet store unknowingly support this cruel industry. By adopting instead of buying a pet, you can be certain that you are not supporting puppy mills with your money. By visiting a shelter, you will likely find dozens of healthy, well-socialized dogs and puppies. Another one of the perks of shelter or rescue adoption is that it is a less expensive way to obtain a dog as opposed to buying one from a breeder or a pet store. According to the Puppy Finder website, purebred dogs can cost as much as $2,500, while adopting a dog from a shelter averages about $50. At the Downey Animal Shelter at which I got my dog, it costs $50 if the dog has been in the shelter for 10 days or less, and if the dog has been in the shelter for 10 days or more, the price goes down to $30. According to the National Rescue Committee of the Golden Retriever Club of America, older dogs in shelters most likely have been spayed or neutered with up-to-date shots and have been heartworm tested or treated if necessary. While health issues can arise after adoption, many are recognized and treated during initial physical evaluations or while in foster care. The Humane Society claims that many shelters provide adoption counseling, follow-up assistance, pet parenting, dog training classes, medical services, and behavior counseling, or can refer you to a cheaper service if they don't provide that. Many rescue and shelter dogs have spent time in family environments, have received the benefit of some basic obedience, and have learned the basics of home manners. If you adopt a dog that was relinquished by a family, you don't have to worry about paying for obedience training or training the dog yourself. For people that must have a purebred dog, there are countless purebred organizations that help abandoned purebreds find homes. The American Kennel Club's website, akc.org, lists hundreds of these organizations all over the country. According to the Humane Society, 25 to 30% of all shelter dogs are actually purebred dogs. Many people think that all shelter dogs are mutts, which is untrue. Families use shelters to give up their family dogs, which may be a purebred. And finally, shelter and rescue dogs will grow into the most wonderful of pets because of what they've been through. The perception of shelter dogs being problem dogs is completely false. According to the National Rescue Committee of the Golden Retriever Club of America, many of the dogs that end up in shelters and rescues have been given up by their owners for many reasons. And these reasons are death, divorce, a new baby, illnesses or allergies, moving to a new home because that house isn't prepared to meet a dog's needs for exercise, care, or training. Families also unable to pay bills may give up their dogs to a shelter. These dogs don't end up at a rescue or animal shelter through any fault of their own. Others may have been rescued for puppy mill raids or strays off the street. You can be sure of your new dog's temperament when adopting because the Humane Society says that shelters get a detailed history of every dog that they receive from a family and also do extensive temperament training of every dog that they receive to assure a right match of dog to family. Shelters have a wide variety of dogs, and if you don't find one that you like right away, just be patient because they get new dogs every day, so it's only a matter of time before you find one that is perfect for you. Rescue and shelter dogs tend to form the strongest bonds out of any dog you could get because of what they have been through. Abused and neglected dogs, when treated with kindness, care, and respect, blossom into loving and loyal companions. Skittish and timid dogs grow more confident, and with more confidence, become more outgoing and affectionate. Rescue and shelter dogs can become the most wonderful of pets when given a home where they can learn to love and be loved, and where affection and attention are combined with consistent training. Adopting a shelter dog is one of the best decisions my family ever made. Not only does Shasta give us love and happiness, but we feel even better about owning her because we gave her a loving home when she didn't have one before. The best part about adopting her was not the money we saved or the time we saved by going through a breeder. The best part of adopting her was that we rescued an animal that may have been put down without our help. And that is one of the best feelings in the world. I hope that in the future, if you are considering getting a dog, you will adopt one from an animal shelter or rescue organization and save a life of your own. Thank you.
So Stas, what did you think?
Okay, so overall I liked the presentation. You seemed very enthusiastic about the subject. I could clearly see that you and your family really like dogs. And your presentation skills were pretty solid. I thought your citing material was well-sourced material. I really liked the example about the rescuing of two lives when you get the dog from a shelter. And overall, very nice course.
Thank you.
All right, I like the personal story at the beginning, and you've got some nice emotional pull to set us up. You do clearly state what your goal is. There's not really, though, a structure of or setup of what the content is going to be, and I think that that's the one place in the speech where you need a little bit more work, because I don't think that you were wandering on the subject. I did not get that impression at all, but I didn't always see the progress that was going step to step, and sometimes some material did sound like it was familiar or repetitive, and there's probably a reason in that it's in that context, but without the structure it's a little bit harder to follow that up. On the content issues, you had lots of good statistical information on that opening section. I think you need to develop a little bit more of your argument on the puppy mills, because we got a lot of generalizations in there, and we need some data on that information. Same sort of thing with the rescue dogs that you have at the end. I think the generalizations are probably sound, but if there was some data or some more, I mean, you've got a couple of examples to back up some of those points, but I think that it needs a little bit more work. Let's see. On the presentation issues, I think that your voice projects pretty well, but because you're reading, it does feel a little bit less engaged, then it could be not bad. I thought you did a nice job reading, but it does seem like you're reading an awful lot. And I know sometimes it's because you've got a lot of quotes. You look up, same sort of thing. You look up pretty regularly, but you're always looking back down again also, and so I don't think you engage the audience quite as much as we would like to have you do. And your gestures are limited because you did a good job on everything given the limitations that you imposed on yourself. If you could get rid of some of those limitations, you'd be even better. I think that's the way I'd say it. All right, thank you.